Alright, it's finally time to talk about PSVR Legacy of the Shadow, a brand new VR game coming from Vertigo Games, and this is set to be releasing in late 2025 for PSVR 2, Quest and PCVR. Now, if you don't know what PSVR is, well, this is based on a classic stealth franchise where you get to step into the boots of a master thief, sneaking, pickpocketing, solving puzzles and pulling off heists in a dark, medieval-inspired city. But this time around, it's fully built for VR, which changes how you approach everything from sneaking past guards to looting treasure. A couple of weeks ago, I was invited up to London to go hands-on for about 45 minutes with this game, and I'll be showing you the PSVR 2 footage today of me breaking down my experience, everything from mechanics, combat, movement, immersion, and visuals, so you get my overall impressions. So going into this, honestly, I wasn't sure what to expect. I dabbled in the old Thief games a little bit back in the day, but I wouldn't call myself a massive fan. That said, VR feels like the definitive way to be able to experience this game like this, and after my demo, yeah, I'm convinced. The first thing that struck me is just how immersive it felt. The city feels alive, the maps felt huge, and the game gives you that freedom to approach situation in multiple different ways. So sure, there's still like a bit of a guided path, but it never felt like I was being funneled down one linear route. And visually, on the PSVR 2 at least, the game looks bloody gorgeous. The lighting, the shadows, the atmosphere, it all just clicked, and that trust I have in Vertigo Games after what they've done with things like Arizona Sunshine 1 and 2 after the fall, and their work on Metro, yeah, it felt like they earned that trust and they've continued to make incredible games after that. It felt like it was just in good hands. The game is estimating to be roughly a 12-hour campaign, but of course that depends on how stealthy you are and how direct you are. So you might finish it in like 9 to 10 hours if you're going to be absolutely running through every single level, but realistically it's looking like most people are going to get through this in sort of 10 to 11, depending if you want to replay areas, if you want 100% a lot of places in platinum, this type of thing. Yeah, I think most people are probably going to get that 10 to 11 hours. Now let's talk about combat and movement. The movement felt fantastic, running, crouching, climbing through windows, sneaking into windows, and creeping through the shadows. It felt fluid and it felt super intuitive as well, and that really deserves some credit because so many VR games kind of stumble and get it wrong when it comes down to this type of movement, and for this it's so critical that they got it right, and I'm glad to say they did. The combat though was a real mixed bag. Right now, the melee weapon is basically a baton that looks like a something, but you use this to knock people out, and you aren't able to go on hand-to-hand takedowns or any improvised attack, which feels like a bit of a missed opportunity, because imagine that Hitman-style stealth killing, but in this, that would have been absolutely amazing. So yeah, I would have loved to have been able to do that. A couple of times when I had got things wrong and had got spotted, I frantically was trying to hurt people. You just can't, it's not part of it. Although the game doesn't really lend itself to wanting you to do that, so equal parts, I guess you're probably not going to come across that too often. But the bow absolutely stole the show. It's the main weapon, and it isn't just for shooting enemies. You'll also have different arrow types like silent takedowns, distractions, and the grappling arrow to be able to scale buildings and sneak into windows. In my demo, it was a little finicky to say the least, but the devs did reassure me that this is something they're refining before launch, and I'll be honest, I believe them. They've always been very true to their words when I've demoed other stuff in the past, like Metro and a bunch of other stuff. So I don't really worry about this right now, and I don't think it's a big enough deal to make a big deal out of. Immersion is where this game really shines. Every drawer, every cupboard, and every little item feels super interactable. Searching through your environment wasn't just rewarding, wasn't even just fun, but you actually get to earn and do all the things that you're supposed to do from that, stealing lots of little trinkets and bits and bobs. This is what VR does best in my opinion, and it drops you into a world where even the smallest action feels engaging, and I feel like they actually got that quite right inside of this game. The coolest mechanic is sort of like this mechanical eye that you get by tapping your head to activate it. You can see highlighted enemies, it gives you little hints and stuff like that. Personally, I wouldn't rely on it too much, but I can see how this is going to be very helpful for newcomers to like a stealth VR genre. The atmosphere, man, they bloody nailed it. I forgot I was standing in a room full of press people, and trust me when I say bunch of press people, there was probably like 40 other people doing bits and bobs in this room, and I completely forgot they were even there and was just completely involved in my own experience inside of this game, and that kind of immersion is exactly what I'm after when it comes to VR. We didn't get much from the story in this demo, but here's what I can share. there. You'll be working alongside some familiar faces from the original Thief games. Long-time fans will definitely appreciate some of the callbacks that you're going to get in this, and to newcomers like me, well, you're still going to enjoy it even without feeling lost, because they kind of handle it in a way that's sort of very rewarding if you're an old school fan, and if you don't know, it don't matter. The little slice of story that I did get to play through though did hook me enough to make me want to experience more, but I'll save deeper thoughts into that really for when I do a full playthrough and a full review of this game on the channel later this year when this comes out. Visuals, well, how did it look? Well, you've been looking at the footage for this entire video so far, so really, you tell me, but what I can say is the PSVR 2 was very, very impressive. The OLED display made all of those shadows and lighting just pop, which is really perfect for a stealth game like this. On PCVR, I'd expect it to look just as good, maybe even better depending on your setup. Now the big question, Quest. Well, I haven't seen a build yet, but the devs have promised me it's the same level of quality they've been delivering across their other Quest titles. Obviously it won't look quite as sharp as a PC or PSVR 2, but from what I've said, Quest players can expect a pretty solid optimized experience. So here's my final thoughts. The thing is, I went into this demo not overly hyped, to be honest with you, and I walked away genuinely excited. It feels like a full-on AAA VR experience, not only just like another side project or something, but this one feels like a complete game. For me, the challenge was actually adjusting to a slower, more methodical playstyle. Normally I'm the kind of guy that just charges in headfirst into every single fight like a friggin' tank, but in Thief VR you are really encouraged to try to not do that, because you will just fail over and over and over again, as this is that stealth game that rewards you more and more for the more stealthy that you are. Once I leaned really into this, I actually started to get all that sort of like excitement from the game that it was delivering, from the stealthy and the presence that was rewarded to me for doing that. And yeah, I can say now, although I have always been a tank, this has convinced me that actually slowing down a little bit and taking it methodically actually does reward you quite a bit. There's still a few things that need polishing, especially that combat. I really hope that they do just a little bit more with that, but I don't know, we'll see when it comes out. The bow mechanics, hopefully they get those completely ironed out, but like I said, I have true faith that they will. Of course, this is just an early demo, so as always, wait for full reviews before making any final judgments, and of course before pre-ordering this or anything like that. I would just maybe hold on until we get the full reviews, but for now my first impressions are definitely very positive. If you have any questions for the game or anything that I experienced in the game, then feel free to drop those comments down below and I will do my best to answer all of them. Let me know how excited you are for this game, again in the comments down below. Other than that guys, if you enjoyed this, please do consider smashing that like button, subscribing and all that good stuff, and don't miss out on a full review when it drops later this year by being subscribed. Other than that, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!